Our first inventor is Kathleen Volman, a registered nurse from Detroit, Michigan, with an invention that helps keep patients off their backs.
Hi there, I'm Kathleen Volman, and I'm seeking $250,000 for a 15% stake in my company. I'm here to talk about my invention, the Volman Prone Positioner. I developed this in 1987 when I realized that there had to be an easier way to turn patients prone in a critical care setting. Before my invention, turning patients prone was a tremendous and labor-intensive task that involves heavy equipment and a lot of manpower. With my invention, the prone positioner is strapped securely to the patient before using the device to turn the patient. The device and the patient is then locked prone using simple mechanics. It also has padding on the forehead, chest, and pelvic areas because these are pressure points and an opportunity for pressure ulcers. I have a contract with Hill-Rom to manufacture these devices, which are used all over the world in critical care settings. I want you sharks to invest with me, help me get these patients better, and spare a backache in the process.
So the prone positioner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not here for this healthcare nonsense. I'm out.
I respect that.
So how much money have you made in the last year?
I've made $1.2 million in sales.
So why do you need us?
Because I know at least one of you have hookups with either a huge hospital corporation or a manufacturing company like Hill-Rom that we can double, triple, or multiply our investments and save patients in the process.
Okay, well here's an obvious question. Why do you need to turn patients prone?
Well, I have written and co-contributed to several peer-reviewed articles for just that question. The focus is on patients who have acute respiratory distress syndrome. Myself and others have proven that patients with this critical, life-threatening disease benefit from prone positioning because while lying supine or with the head of the bed elevated, the oxygen being breathed in is only getting displaced to mostly the posterior and inferior parts of the lungs, and that is also where the fluid buildup is in the alveoli. If the patient is lying prone, they are able to utilize the alveoli in the anterior and superior parts of the lungs, which are less likely to have complete fluid buildup, meaning that the patient is able to take an oxygen straight to the bloodstream. The prone positioner is designed in such a way that it facilitates lung expansion, giving the lungs an extra kick of oxygen due to the free space between the upper chest and pelvic pylons.
Okay, well, I don't like lying on my stomach, so I'm out.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Well, this sounds very interesting. I will offer you $200,000 for 40% of your company.
Okay, can I make a counter offer?
Yes, you can.
Okay, how about $250,000 for a 25% stake?
I will offer you $250,000 for 30%. Final offer.
I can't make another.
No.
Can I have a few seconds to think about it? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I have decided and I'm willing to accept your offer. Let's
Great.
do this.
Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up is Sharon Morris with an interesting invention to help detect sponges during surgery. Sounds interesting.
Hi, my name is Sharon Morris. I'm a registered nurse from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I have invented the Smart Sponge System. This is a state-of-the-art system that is able to detect all sponges used during surgery and prevent any from being left behind in the patient's after. How it works is each sponge has a chip in it that is identified by the system. The sponges are scanned at the beginning of the procedure and are dropped into the associated bucket. The sponge is accounted for. If the numbers don't match at the end, there's a special wand that is passed over the patient to see if any sponges were left behind. Again, because of the chips inside each sponge, the wand would alert if the sponge is detected. I am asking for $30,000 for 25% of my business. I was interested in this concept because as an OR nurse, I see how busy and overwhelming it can get during a surgical procedure and how easy it can be to leave a sponge inside a patient. Although there are ways to count sponges, this still seems to be quite a few instances where complications have occurred because the sponge is left inside and it goes undetected. The system will not only keep the patient safe, but will save healthcare facilities money by reducing the number of complications that incur from this. My husband and I started a company called ClearCount Medical Solutions to be able to market and distribute this product. I have a video that I would like to present and showing the product and giving you a better understanding.
The time has come for a platform that will put an end to retained sponge incidents. Today, 1 in 1,500 intra-abdominal surgeries results in a sponge left behind in the patient. These never events are costly and damaging to everyone involved. Today, with ClearCount Medical, 0 is the achievable standard of care for retained surgical sponges. The ClearCount platform is the most comprehensive available for retained sponge prevention using RFID technology. RFID readers use antennas to communicate with tiny embedded RFID tags that have digital information about the items being tracked, meaning that items can be both counted and detected without requiring line of sight. This platform also allows hospitals to choose the best configuration for their ORs. For the most comprehensive detection system, ClearCount offers an affordable option with the SmartWand DTX, a fully reusable detection system that can also be used to validate counts. An optional smart tag placed under the patient provides feedback that the SmartWand is reading through the depth of the patient. The system locates sponges in the patient, providing type and quantity, or may be useful in locating missing sponges within the OR. Nurses also may use the SmartWand DTX to verify their manual count procedure. The Smart Sponge system is a revolutionary device for the purpose of reconciling surgical counts. The system is used to identify RFID tagged surgical items that are scanned in before the case, then counted out during and after the case. The system works by scanning in all items needed for the case. Then, while the case is underway, all items are placed in the countout bucket, which scans the number and type of each item and reconciles the count on the screen. In addition, there is a smart wand that scans the patient for items that may have been left behind during the procedure. Again, the system identifies and reconciles any tagged sponges or towels. The system even generates and maintains a unique electronic record of the surgical case for inclusion in the patient file. The Smart Sponge system helps make the process of surgical counts more precise, which will speed the turnover of cases and ensure patient safety.
So why should I invest in you, and what makes your product the best?
My product uses technology to be able to scan and account for each sponge and during a surgical procedure. This prevents any from being left inside the patient. As you saw from my video, the computer checks to make sure the number started with is the number ending with. This prevents further complications like infections, etc.
Is your product patented, and how much did it cost to make? What is the selling price?
Yes, the product is patented. It costs about $7,500 to make and it sells for $18,000. This price includes a smart bucket, which you saw in the video, as well as the wand and the mat.
This seems like a huge investment. Is anyone interested in the product at this time?
Yeah, I have about 20 hospitals interested in this product at this time and have sold two so far in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Oakland, California.
How long does it take to manufacture and distribute one of these systems?
It takes approximately 2 months from the time that it's ordered to the delivery at the doorstep.
I think it's too big of an investment. I'm out.
I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna give you $25,000 for 50% in your company, because I think that's how much you're worth.
All right, hold on. I will give you $30,000 for 40% of your company.
Okay, even though I'm flattered by both your offers, and thank you for listening to me, I'll have to go with Amanda. Yes, it's a deal.
All right, I think you're kind of screwed on this one. Good luck.
Up next Next is Jill Drew from Maryland with the no-no sleeve.
Hi Sharks, my name is Jill Drew. I'm a registered nurse with over 18 years of experience and I have created the no-no sleeve. The no-no sleeve is a bright red, latex-free sleeve that fits over the patient's forearm and informs healthcare personnel that the patient's particular limb shouldn't be used for blood draws or blood pressure. I created this to help alleviate patient anxiety over their arm being used while they are incapable of telling healthcare providers to avoid it, such as when they are sleeping or unconscious. The sleeve also helps nurses as it is a foolproof way of identifying a restricted limb. Some of the people who may find this sleeve useful include dialysis patients and patients who have had mastectomies with limb involvement. I'm asking for $75,000 and a 20% stake.
What profit have you made?
In about 8 months, I've sold over 200 units through regional and online order. I've also made $35,000.
Is this being sold to individuals or hospitals?
Both. The no-no sleeve can be purchased online individually. It is also available to facilities in cases of 50. My hope is to make this sleeve available in hospitals and dialysis clinics around the country. I've also been working with the Joint Commission to make at-risk limb safety a priority, which I think will increase the value of the no-no sleeve.
What are you planning to do with the money?
I want to increase my production, and I also want to increase marketing.
For a cloth, I'm out.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if this was like a little more mature, but I'm not as well.
I think it's a great idea. How about $150,000 for 30% of the company?
For 30% of the company. Okay. Now we're Thank you. Up next is Florence Nightingale with a quick fix to a nurse-patient communication problem.
Hello, Sharks. I'm Florence Nightingale from Florence, Italy, and my product is the Nurse Call Bell. I'm seeking $5,000 for 20% of my business. My family and I have several servants working for us, and when we need something from them, we just ring a bell. This same system can be applied to the in-hospital nurse-patient relationship to solve communication problems. As of right now, when my patient needs something like food or medication or to go to the toilet, they have no way of telling me. They actually have to wait for me to come back around to their room, which could take hours. With this simple system that I've created, a bell and a string, the patient will be able to notify me right away when they need something. This string is attached to the head of the patient's bed, and the other end is attached to a bell, like this one, that hangs from the ceiling just outside of the patient's door. When the patient needs their nurse, they pull on the string, the bell rings, the valve remains open so that the nurse knows who's calling them, and the nurse then tends to their needs.
Okay, so how much does each unit cost to make and how much do you sell them for?
Okay, each bell and string unit, including installation, costs $2, and I sell them as a 10-unit package for $40 total.
Is this something that hospitals need?
Yes, actually, hospitals need to ensure that their patients are being cared for properly. This includes an open line of communication between nurse and patient. Hospitals need the system for many different reasons. It can reduce the number of falls by encouraging the patient to ring for help before attempting to go to the bathroom on their own. It allows the nurse to see exactly which patient needs her instead of wasting precious time checking in with the patient. It helps the nurse tend to each patient's needs in a timely manner, which in turn helps the hospital from a customer service standpoint.
So how does this help the patients?
Most importantly, the call bell system is the patient's constant connection with the nurse. In addition, it gives the patient a sense of control while in an unfamiliar environment, such as a hospital. It can also help weak patients notify their nurse that they actually need something without having to try and call out for help.
So, how much have you sold so far?
So far, I've sold 50 10-unit packages.
Well, personally, I don't think it's a good investment. One reason is because it truly seems like it could potentially be a huge burden and an annoyance on the nurses and other staff. So for that reason, I'm going to have to say I'm out.
Okay, I understand.
I'll give you $2,500 for 45% of your company, and I think this would be a great start for you.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you $4,000 for 65% of the company, and I am part owner of a Bell company. Great partnership.
She wants you to sell her soul to her. I mean, 65%, let's get real here, that's
Right.
ridiculous.
I think you should do it.
All right, well, thank you everyone for the opportunity. I definitely don't want to be left with only 35% of the shares in my own company, so I'm going to.
Great, great.
Made the right
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Trying to sell her soul.
Nurse call bell system since the original one that was created by Florence Nightingale. Now we have systems that signal alerts at the nurse's station, or send alerts to a pager that the nurse wears, or even to a cell phone that the nurse keeps on them at all times. Some systems even allow the patient to speak directly to the nurse after pressing their call button. The latest, most innovative call bell systems can actually triage the call to the correct person depending on what button the patient presses. For instance, if the patient presses the toileting button, the alert will go to the PCA responsible for that patient. If the patient presses the pain button, the alert will go to the nurse responsible for that patient. Here is a short video that briefly discusses a more advanced nurse call bell system.
One of the ways that we're meeting patient needs better is through our new nurse call system. It is a centralized nurse call model. The nurse call system is activated when the patient actually presses this nurse button on the pillow speaker. So if it's an RN request, the dome light will turn green. If it's a PCT request, the dome light will turn yellow. Potentially there's 5 colors that the dome light can do. When they press their call light, they're getting an immediate and consistent response from this call light operator. And it's also a win for the staff because for the first time, they're actually going to know what the patient is requesting. It's cutting down that time and making this process much more efficient.
The next inventor is Miss Anita Dorr, an emergency care nurse with something she calls the crisis cart.
Hello, my name is Anita Dorr. I specialize in emergency nursing, so firsthand I see how to take care of trauma patients. Now, just visualize for a second. You're in the hospital and you have a heart attack. And to your dismay, as you're laying there with a heart attack, the nurses are searching, scurrying for the equipment. And you know when you have a heart attack that every second counts. And your life determines on that time. And as you're waiting, we are looking for equipment, and it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to respond. That's why I invented what we call the crisis cart. It is available for every emergency situation. It is organized and efficient. I handcrafted this cart with my husband in my basement. I took every piece of equipment that belongs in that cart and I measured it. Then I put it in each drawer and made a spot for each equipment to keep it organized. Every drawer has a purpose. The cart is wooden, and it's red, as you can see, to represent an emergency. It has a bell on one end, and it's mobile. So you can rush it into a patient's room and ring the bell, notifying staff that there's an emergency. Now, how the cart is set up, as you can see here, I designed it specifically to have it anatomically lie with the patient. When you go in a patient's room, you take the cart, you put it up right against the stretcher, and the cart matches with the patient, depending on care. To give you an idea, the head of the cart has oxygen. It has a respiratory equipment. And that will align with the patient's head. The middle of the cart will contain your medications. The end of the cart will contain IV starts. And my favorite part of it is the end. It has access from both angles, right and left, so the nurses on right and left sides can grab the IVs and start IVs on the patient. This little invention here will make your code organized, it will make it efficient, and it will allow a rapid response. And my favorite part of it is it will save people's lives.
Okay, I have a question. Can this cart of yours be used for other
First,
situations?
I'm sorry, how much are you asking for and for what percentage of your company, please?
Oh, I would like 1 million and 15%.
Okay, sorry.
Can this card of yours be used for other situations besides cardiac arrest?
Yes, it can. It can be used for every emergency situation.
Is it patented?
No, my lawyer did not recommend it.
Okay, why is this necessary?
It can save a life. It is necessary because you can provide a rapid response. You will have everything organized, and you will have everything available, and it's mobile.
How much does one unit cost?
$1 million.
Don't you think that's a little much?
Not at all. You can't put a price in somebody's life.
Well, my grandpa recently died from a heart attack and it took the nurses about 10 minutes to respond, so I think this is a great investment. I'm willing to offer you $850,000 for 45% of your company.
I'm sorry to hear about your grandpa,
Thank you.
but I can't accept that offer.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to offer you $750,000 for 30% of your company.
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and offer the full $1 million for 35% of your company.
I will take it.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Have a